Who is the secret novelist who helped Stephen King write Carrie? So if you don't know that piece of trivia, I'm going to tell you not only because it's a fascinating story, but also because it has a wonderful message behind it. Stephen King is such a great writer. He has such a strong voice. He's been called the master of genre because of his voice. When you buy a Stephen King book, you know the experience you're in for. Plus, it's authentic to him. He loves doing it, and of course, has created an extraordinary career out of it, which is what I want to get into today. On the map to infinite creativity, we are going to talk about voice. So, if you didn't know, we are on a 7-week quest. We're on the map to infinite creativity. We're on day 3. We are out of the land of the unmanifested, where we ideate, where we plan and strategize, and we're getting into unlocking our voice today. Then we're going to get into the regular creative writing habit, burning through obstacles, celebrating our wins, and growing our mission. So if you are not on this train on the email yet, you'll get all of these classes in your inbox with your own map, with prompts and tools to help you move your book to full fruition. And so this is all free. It's just email. You can download it below. I've put a link right there so I can tell you who the secret novelist was who helped Stephen King write Carrie. It was Tabitha King, his wife. So let me tell you the story. Sorry for the spoiler, but as in with most books, the story really is what brings the message home. So how did she do that? Tabitha King and Stephen King met in college. They were both novelists. They were writers. They loved writing. Tabitha King really believed that Stephen King was going to be able to support them and make a living with his writing. So early on, she was working 2 jobs to support him. She was working all day as an English teacher, and then she would do a night shift at a store in order to be able to pay for their house, to pay for their living. So Stephen King was mostly writing short stories at that time. He had self-published a collection of short stories and was attempting his first novel to submit to a traditional publisher, and it was not working. It was called Carrie, and it was not working. So he crumpled it up and he threw it in the trash. Tabitha King comes home from work. She sees a bunch of crumpled paper in the trash, and she picks up the pages and she starts to read them. She says to Stephen King, he talks about this in interviews and also in his acceptance speech for the National Book Award. It's a great story. So she picks him up and she says, I think you have something here. You just haven't fully executed it. And so what Stephen King says back is, I don't know anything about high school girls. How am I supposed to write this thing? I'm giving up. And Tabitha King says, don't worry, I'll help you with the high school girls. I'll help you figure them out. And we are going to get this done. And so, of course, as a writing coach, I love this story because Stephen King had a writing coach. There were 2 major elements of what Tabitha King really offered. One, belief, which there are always times we need a pep talk. There are times when we don't believe in ourselves and we need somebody else to give that oomph, to give that push like a writing coach does, but also the strategy. He had never written anything as long as a novel before. He was having trouble executing it. He was getting tangled. And so this is where Tabitha King, I don't know what she did, but what I do is we ask ourselves questions, we draw it out. And so if you're interested in getting a writing coach, I love writing coaching. You can set up a coffee below, but also because I can't coach everybody, this is something we can always do for ourselves. This is a process I call big questions and little questions. And so this is the coaching part of bringing out your voice. All writers receive help. All writers need strategic support. And so one way that I think is the easiest way to get started is often when we sit down to a blank page, we think, what am I supposed to say? And so flip that around and say, what can I ask myself that will draw the right words out of me? So I separate that into big questions and little questions. There's always a big question behind a book. For Carrie, it's, can this disadvantaged, misfit teenage girl fit into her high school situation? Can she make friends at her high school where she's feeling so left out and so lost? And because it's a horror story, spoiler alert, she doesn't. So for this particular genre, the answer is no, unfortunately. And that is why we have Carrie. But so when you're writing your own book, what is that central question that drives the plot? How can you ask yourself that? And then you want to break that down into smaller questions. What's something really bad that could happen to Carrie? What are some obstacles that she has to overcome? Why is her life so hard? When, our hypothetical in this situation, Stephen King is asking himself these questions rather than just really forcing himself and getting stuck and wondering what he should possibly write. When he starts breaking down the big question into smaller questions, he's going to get some answers rather than some blocks. And that is wonderful for all of us who want to spend time writing. So we're on day 3 of this map. Download it below if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel because I love that. Thank you so much. And I will see you next Friday as we get deeper in to ideating and writing these books that the world really needs. Hope you take some time to get your writing further along this weekend. Ciao for now. Bye.